this is a big question for you. What is the best advice that you've been given? But I want to focus on two of my blokes that really, look, I'm telling you, it really hit my heart when Tunch passed away. I know it would hit your heart too, and Owen's heart. What is the best advice? Because those two fellas, to me, are just steel of football. When I was growing up watching the game, and I turned on the radio, and I was doing something when I was younger, like we're a similar age, right? Like it was 11, 12, 13. Push that button, Steelers radio. You hear Wolfley talk about how big fellas are, how he's always eating the O-line guys, and then Tunch comes in and has his direction. Those two, I could be, honestly, if there was a best friend award in the whole universe, those two could have the best friend award. And you felt that all the way to Australia of like, these guys know it, they get it, they love football, and they're mates. But what is the best advice that you received from either Tunch or Wolfley? I really want to know.
Oh, man. So I got one specific piece of advice for you, and then I guess another, like maybe an encouragement, if you will. The second summer, the second year that I was with the Steelers, my second training camp, which would have been 2019, I was having a cigar and a conversation with Tunch one night. So one of the best parts about training camp, you know, it's I'm sure you guys are familiar, except for the last 2 years because of COVID. It's at a university, a college, about an hour outside of Pittsburgh, St. Vincent. Tiny little campus. I mean, this college has a couple thousand people. That's it. Like there's some high schools in the Pittsburgh area that are bigger than this college, right? Nice school, nice campus, smaller, more intimate feel, right? And that's why the Steelers love to have training camp there. It's very secluded. It's kind of its own contained thing, and you can really focus on football. The dormitories are kind of up on the hill above the football fields where everybody stays, and almost every single night you could find Tunch and Wolf sitting up there smoking a cigar. You know, whether it was just the two of them, whether they had one or two or a couple other people with them, whoever. You know, sometimes there might be an ex-Steeler up there. Sometimes it might be a media person like me, right? It might just be the two of them, but almost every single night you could find them smoking a cigar. Well, one night, like I think Wolf had gone home, like back to Pittsburgh, because one of his kids had something. I don't know. It could have been a dance recital, right? Could have been whatever. His kids had something that night. So Wolf went home for the evening and was going to come back early the next morning for the show. Tunch was sitting up there by himself and was like, Wes, come have a cigar with me. Come on. So we're sitting there and we're having a cigar. And basically I don't remember how we got here in the conversation, but I asked Tunch, and at this point, right, I was doing an hour show on SNR. I had an hour show by myself, Monday through Friday, just an hour by myself immediately after Tunch and Wolf. And I remember getting into the conversation with Tunch. And again, I don't remember exactly how I asked it to him or how we got there. But basically my question to him was, how are people ever going to take me seriously? Right? Like I stopped playing football when I was in grade 9, you know, because I wanted to focus on ice hockey because I was better at that. Like I played football growing up for 4 years, but I stopped when I was in grade 9. Obviously was not a great player. Didn't play in college or anything like that, right? And so, you know, I'm saying to Tunch, you know, I follow up you and Wolf. A lot of these other people that are doing shows, they've been covering the Steelers as long as I've been alive. You know, like how basically that's what I was picking Tunch's brain on was, are people really ever going to take me seriously? You know, I didn't play in the NFL. I didn't play Division I college football, big-time college football, any like that. Are people going to listen to me? And Tunch just did a great job of saying, listen, some of the people that I enjoy talking football with the most never played a snap in the NFL, didn't play high-level college football. You know, Billy Hillgrove, he said to me, Billy Hillgrove and Myron Cope were two of my favorite people to talk football with. And they never played football at a high level, you know, past high school or anything like that. He said some of the guys that have been covering the Steelers forever, you know, the Ed Bouchettes of the world. I love talking football with those guys. Ed Bouchette didn't play in the NFL, right? And just really gave me encouragement that, you know, it's all in how you present yourself. It's all in the type of show you want to do. You know, you're not going to be able to do the type of show that Wolf and I do, where you sit around and laugh and tell stories about the locker room in the good old days. He said, but you're going to be, but he said, you know, Wolf and I couldn't do the type of show that you do, where you can remember who the Cincinnati Bengals drafted in the 4th round in 2014, right? Like, and so I just, again, it wasn't like there was one specific line or anything like that, but Tunch just kind of giving me that encouragement to say, you know, no, you can cover the Steelers, you can do a show, you can do whatever it is that you want to do. And as long as you're well researched, as long as you're well thought out, as long as you know, are a professional, people are going to take you seriously. And then another thing was, it would have been Christmas of 2019. So fast forward a few months. Tunch and Wolf actually, I was producing their show every single day at the time. Like I got to the point where I was doing so much on-air stuff that I would only work directly with Tunch and Wolf on their show occasionally. But I started out my first 2 years producing their show every day. And so they would always get me like a Christmas card and a gift card to somewhere. And, they'd get me a Christmas card with like a gift card to one of the steakhouses in Pittsburgh or something, and say, take your wife out for a nice dinner, Merry Christmas type thing. The second year that I was working for them was when I was really starting to do more on-air stuff, and I was really getting busy and really getting a lot of opportunity. And I still have, it's funny, I still have it in my drawer downstairs, the Christmas card that they wrote me in 2019. And on that Christmas card, Tunch wrote, "Wes, I promise you're going to be a star in this business one day. Keep grinding." And like I said, I'm glad. And Wolf wrote me a really nice message in there as well too. And I'm not a sentimental type guy. Like I throw stuff away all the time. My mom gives me old photo albums. I flip through them for 20 minutes and then I throw them away. Right? Like I'm not a sentimental keep stuff kind of guy. But I was smart enough to keep that. And about a year later, Tunch ends up passing away. So I'm happy that I have that. But those are kind of the two moments that would stand out to me in terms of best advice they've ever given me. It wasn't necessarily a specific, hey, be yourself, or hey, do this. It was just more so the encouragement that I needed at the right times to say, hey, like you do belong. Even though you're 5'10" and 155 pounds, you belong with these mammoths who, were playing in the trenches back in the NFL in the 80s. And so that encouragement from both Wolf and Tunch at different times meant everything to me.
Well, that's amazing because, he is honestly, I know Owen feels the same way, and Owen can speak about it too, but it really hurt our hearts here around the world, I think, with Tunch, just knowing that. And we don't know him personally, but it was one of those ones like...
Felt like you did, though, right? Like, that was the best thing about it.
Yeah, it really did.
If you listen to their show one time, it felt like you were best buddies with them. And they cultivated that so well.
Yeah, so I'm going to be tuned now. Think about it, because, but it's just... He was special, and I want to talk about it too. But he was just a brilliant bloke and just a wonderful Steeler, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Tunch was
absolutely agree.
Just like I think one of the biggest things for me that came across about Tunch was, and you've sort of reiterated it through your story, Wes, is what a kind, caring person he was towards everyone that he had, and that he actually made time for every single person he spoke to, and he made everyone he spoke to feel special, and that was the amazing guy Tunch was. And I think that's why all of us, even those who, like myself and Mark, who never met him, still felt a huge sense of loss when he passed away.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that's the best thing you can say about somebody. I really do, is that you might have never met him. You might live thousands of miles away in a different country, or maybe, there's probably a lot of Steelers fans out there that met him for 30 seconds at training camp one year. Or 30 seconds at one of his walks for the homeless that him and Wolf did every year, that they still do, by the way. They just had it last weekend, I think. You felt connected. And I think the Steelers do an amazing job of that as an organization, but I think Tunch and Wolf just personify that, I mean, teammates who became brothers legitimately, and they shared that. They weren't like two best friends that wanted to do their own thing. They were like two best friends that let everybody into their circle. And man, for NFL guys, for legends like they are, you don't get that very often.